There are small little steps that you can do, teeniest little things of setting the right intentions, changing the way. I did a video today about just changing the way your first 5 minutes of your day, how that impacts the rest of your day, which impacts the rest of your life. Like, it's such small little things that I teach people that I'm like, it's not burning everything down and starting from scratch. It's not moving to the woods to find yourself. It's not some woo retreat that like is going to metaphysically transport you spiritually in some sort of way. It's like, no. It's some of the most simple principles that you put into place that get you to where you're wanting to be.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Delusional. I'm your host, Michelle Coyle. I am here with my friend Jake Talbert. Jake, please introduce yourself.
My name is Jake Talbert, and I went from sobbing on the floor, losing my home, empty home, on staring around, to living the best version of my life that I possibly could.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear your story, Jake. And, the first thing that I hear when I hear that somebody lost their house is that's a real entrepreneur right there. He was ready to risk it for the biscuit. Tell us what happened. Start from the beginning.
For me, it starts even before that point. It really does start with, a lot of the times people fall into the bucket of often right now it's referred to as misalignment fatigue or different ways. And like, I was living that life, misalignment fatigue. Like, I was really good at selling. And so quickly got into selling for, a large organization, a large corporation, and then trying to move up and, be an aspiring leader and become a manager and move up the chains and, all that sort of stuff. But the whole time, like, yeah, I'm good at selling and I hate selling. And I know so many people that are like that, where they're like, I just can't stand it. And I'm like, yeah, but when you do it, you're good. And so it was like it's a skill I had. But it wasn't like I differentiate a lot between gifts and skills. A gift is something that, like, when I use it and it's in alignment, like I get re-energized by doing that. I'm contributing, versus like, it's just a skill I have. I can sell. And so I was in that burnout and just going through all the motions that happen with that. I'm, trying to find the things that connected me to be happy. I always tell people, like, I don't partake of substance other than you may see me drink caffeine, like a Monster energy drink here. But like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any sort of that sort of thing. But I was self-medicating through like fake performance and actual performance, because I was also doing comedy for 15 years. And so I was selling during the day and then going and running a comedy theater at night, and then being on stage multiple nights a week, and then going home in the middle of the night and then waking up and doing it again and again, trying to just move past everything and trying to be someone I'm not. I even took on, like, I had a stage name, and I embodied what it meant to be that stage name. And you're dreading waking up, you're dreading going to work, and it impacts every part of the life, right? I mean, it impacts relationships, it impacts your relationship with my wife, and how I show up to my boys. If I'm always tired because I'm at the theater all night, and then I come home, and then I go to work all day, and then I come home, and like, I'm not there every night to be there. And so, like, it's taxing. It was so draining. And so when you start doing that, you make dumb decisions. Mm-hmm. You make dumb relationship decisions. You make dumb financial decisions. Mm-hmm. And I am king of dumb financial decisions for a long time in my life. And so it was I would rather play like everything was good than actually accept the fact that how, like, absolutely shitty things were, how broken I was. And so it was, well, we're going to go on this vacation. We're going to go do this thing. We're going to go, like, we need to buy the big house. We need to have nice cars. We need to have, like, we're putting on the show. And it's like, yeah, but you also are, like, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Like, you can't pay this one this month, so you're going to pay that one this month, but then you're going to, like, overextend your checking. Like, and so it was just dumb decisions across the board. And, those dumb decisions come back to haunt you, even after you wake up and realize you shouldn't be doing them anymore. And just, you go through those motions over time. And so, like, it got to that point where we were so far behind, they were taking our house. And luckily somebody came and made an offer very last minute. and we had to get approval to like extend the foreclosure an extra week so that they wouldn't close on us so that we could actually sell it. And so I was there, and we'd moved everything out. I had a show breed Cocker Spaniel. We had to get rid of him. We had to, we moved in from a large 5-bedroom, massive house, a 3,600 square foot home into like this like 1,600 square foot home. We had to it was big changes. And so I was selling a bunch of furniture as the last piece of furniture, selling to somebody, and they came and they took it, and I kind of just closed the door to the house, and I literally sat there, and like it was that moment where you're looking around and you're like, this was like the first home we bought.
Mm-hmm.
And not only was the first home we bought, but like brought my 2 older boys home from the hospital here. They have custom painted rooms with custom murals to different characters for them. There are family members that my last memory with them before they passed away were them being at that home. There were parties, there were get-togethers, there were, and so sitting there and seeing the dog door closed up and no furniture, but just like feeling the space still, like and as if the stuff was still there, and it just hit me. That was like a breaking point of like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And it wasn't just the financial cost. It was like what am I doing with personal life and these things, like relationally, like I had closed myself off emotionally to like everybody. No one knew this was going on. I played the perfect performance of like, and it's something I coach people to now where it's like, you look like everything's good on paper. Like the boxes are checked, right? You got this, you got that, you're running your business. But on the inside, like it was a nightmare. It was a complete disaster. So, it was that moment where I was like, holy crap, something's got to change. And that was like very small step. That was where the spark of something reignited finally to be like, bro, this is not who you are. This is not why you're here. It was right shortly before that point, like we'd started return going, like we'd been inactive from any sort of church related things for years. And like we'd just started, it's like kind of getting back spiritually and everything. And it was just like that, everything crashed at once. And that's that, for me, I call it that, it's that spark moment of like, okay, that's where it started. And now you flash forward, almost 15 years. And it's like, I don't know that if I told that version of me on the floor, hey, this is what life's like in 2026, that he would believe me. That, that when I answer, people are like, hey, how are you? We're catching up these days. And I always tell people like, I feel like I'm living the best year of my life. Relationally, financially, my boys, my wife, like everything is great. And I don't think he would believe that in this span of time that any of these things would be true.
Yeah. So let's go back to that moment for a second. You're so descriptive with the house. I mean, you're bringing me to tears just listening to your story. How old were you at that point? How old were your kids? Had you told your wife? At what point did you tell your wife, "Hey, we're in trouble"? I'm just assuming that she wasn't involved
She
in
was
all the
aware.
business decisions.
She was aware that we were in trouble because I mean, we had car repossessed and threatened of another one being being kicked out of your home is pretty clear.
Yeah.
Let's see, it was probably 13 years ago, so I would have been 28, 29
Okay.
at that point. Nope. Yeah, it was got to be around that time frame. It was. Oh gosh, it wasn't. It was 11 years ago. My goodness. And I only know that because my middle boy is turning 12 here in a couple months.
Yeah.
And he was alive, so I know for a fact that it was less than 12 years ago.
Okay.
But it was actually right around this time because I remember moving around this time of year and things like that. So it was like it very much was about 11 years ago from right now. So that would have put me at 30 when all this went down.
Okay. And when did you first start in business? And so how long did it take you to kind of ramp up, get over your skis, and then get to that point at 30 years old where they were coming for your car and your house?
Oh, goodness. How long did it take before I was upended? Like before I Was that
Yeah, like
failure
did you
point?
start the business at 25, make a bunch of money the first year, and then gamble to chase it for the next 4 years? Like tell us the arc of how that
Oh,
happened.
no, I mean, this was too scared to even start a business at that point.
Okay, so
This
you
was
were
it.
working for somebody
I
else
was
at this
still, I was, yeah, I was, yeah, great. I'd been in corporate world forever, got out of corporate world to work for some small bit. Like I got that first taste of entrepreneur life. And so I was working for another company, but it was a small company, entrepreneur, very much focused in mentality. Um, and was super excited and was let go abruptly.
point. I see. Yeah.
And it was like that first point in life where you're like, I've gotten every job I've ever applied for.
Yeah.
Like, and I've never had a problem with employers. What happened is because of that, losing that job, I took a job back in a corporate job doing sales, making way less money, but it was like I needed something. That was the final linchpin when you've already been making poor financial decisions.
Right.
And now you're losing another $25,000, $30,000 a year when you're already overextending yourself. It's like, yep, writing was on the wall. It was just a matter of time before everything would fall there. So it was about 3 years of underemployment, not making what I had been making, on top of the poor decisions that had already been made that really led to that point. So but at that point, idea of even starting a business was, it had started to sound exciting, but after having to step backwards in what I felt my career, stepping backwards into this corporate job again, it was like, maybe that's just not me. Maybe it's not cut out for me. Maybe I'm not meant to be that person, a business owner, an entrepreneur, whatever that may be.
Well, and when we're in our 20s, you know, we're optimists at that point. We
Yeah.
a lot of times, right? Not everybody, but a lot of us haven't had tons and tons of like negative, horrible things happen. We haven't, lived through disasters, etc. I know for me, like my big reckoning of, hey, I needed to actually have money saved up in case something happened didn't come until COVID. I mean, I was in my late 30s at that point because I had
Yep.
always I'm really good at making money, Jake. So I just was like, I always make more money. I can always make
Yeah.
more money. And nowhere in my mind or in my business calculus or any of that was there's going to be a huge pandemic that's going to shut everything down for, I mean, I live in DC, so it was like 2 years that
Yep.
everything
Yep.
was shut down here. It was crazy. The rest of the country was all back up and functioning for a long time, and we were still, shut down here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it had never occurred to me that something like that might happen.
Yep.
I had not contingency planned for that. Now that I've lived through that, never again will I, take for granted that some huge.
And you have those learning experiences that you have to embody. And for me, a lot of change came when it was like for a long time I couldn't talk about these things because it was almost too painful to talk about. I did a dry run telling this story earlier today just to make sure I could get through it all like cleanly.
Yeah.
Because there was a long time where it was embarrassing. Like you like when I say making dumb decisions personally, relationshiply, financially, like it's across the board. And so many people that I work with, so many people that I know who tune into your world have been down those paths. They've got those ghosts, those phantoms still there in their closet in the back of their lives that, once again, I've been past that road, made massive changes, had all sorts of things that go well, and still they pop up every so often. And it's like, damn it, again, I thought I'm 10 years, 12 years, 12 or 4, like I'm this far down the path since this happened. Why? Like, why is this still happening to? And so it's those, even with like the COVID example you used, it's like never again. And there might be some that bubbles up at some point that you're like, damn it, I didn't think about that thing. But that, once again, it's I feel being 41 that I can look back at, these things now and be like, okay, there's lessons that I still learn from today. And I always tell people that through what I teach in the Giver Method, like you're the only person with your combination of gifts, superpowers, and experiences. When I say experiences, I mean the good, the bad, and everything in between.
Yeah.
And so you are the only person who can make an impact in very specific people's lives because it's not just that you're the best at calming chaos or simplifying complex or the truly hearing what somebody is saying to you. It's that you also come with it from that mentality of almost losing it all financially with COVID and being shut down for something, or from nearly losing a home, having homes repossessed, having where there isn't a lower number in a credit score that you can get. Like that was me.
Yeah.
It was like that bottom of the tank. That was me. To the changes that come from that. So it's like there's your gifts are refined and truly forged to what they can be moving forward in those hardest, darkest times, business wise, relationship wise. It took a lot of multiple things for me to finally break the emotional shell I had put around myself, where I was like, no, I'm just not going to show emotion. And my wife is probably not so happy about that because she gets a lot of emotion now, where it's like, look, I got to tell you all these things that are happening, and you have to listen because that's what you said you want. But too many years, decades of just literally harboring emotion and letting that sit there. That just, it's like, cool. I know, no, you can't do that. That's, not healthy.
It's not healthy. You got to let the feelings come up. And what you're describing is super traumatic. And of course, that trauma is going to store. Of course, there's going to be residual feelings of guilt, shame, embarrassment, anxiety, all kinds of things that come up from an experience like that. I'm impressed that you haven't let that stop you from moving forward and doing something completely different. And it's a pattern that we hear over and over with delusional guests. Actually, Jake, and you're saying a lot of people have this kind of stuff in their stories. We've had people on the show that were in jail, meth addicts, like coming from all kinds, and they're now multimillionaires, impacting
exactly. Yep.
thousands of lives. It's amazing how far people can come from here to here, and how often it's that really deep rock bottom that is the springing off point for your life going in a completely different direction. We're about to hear about that from you. I just want to pull that out for anybody watching or listening, because so much of what I hear, and I know you hear it too from the folks you talk to, they're so afraid to have the really negative experiences, the really adverse experiences. It's like, well, I don't want to be that uncomfortable. I don't want to risk anything like that. But it's, high risk, high reward. It is often almost necessary. Not that it's totally necessary to go through this kind of stuff, but a lot of times, if you would ask any of those people, and they would say, I would never have gotten to where I am now if I hadn't gone through that experience, because it changed my perspective. And our guest who was in jail, she said, I've been in jail, like there's nothing I'm afraid of now. What are you going to do? Throw me back in jail? I've already been there, right? And so it kind of makes you fearless, right?
I can put myself out there in a room. I've been in jail. Like, come on, that's
yeah,
true.
Yeah. So you had what we call come to Jesus moment while you were on the floor of your house.
Yep.
And tell us what happened from there.
So, it was coming to terms of like, there's something there, and hopefully not every person has to hit complete rock bottom to find whatever. Like I said, sometimes your spark is just buried at the bottom of all the crap and shit you've put yourself through. And it's like, oh, there it is. I had to come all the way down to find it. Hopefully not every person has to go that deep to find that thing, that spark that's still there. Right. Sometimes you'll have to go a few layers deep. More power to you if that's the case. But some of us have to
learn the hard way,
Yep. Some of us have to learn the hard way. That's just how it goes. And so it was starting to be like, okay, well, what does that mean for me? Like if there's something here, what does that actually mean for me? And a lot of times people will ask me the question along the lines of like, well, was there a book, a mentor? Was there a thing? Like, what was the thing you clinged to? And I'm like, honestly, it was that single spark of something that was like, okay, I know what felt good when I was working in this entrepreneurial space. I know this is not where I want to be, but what does that mean? What does that look like in the future? I don't know. We're now renting this home that we still can't barely afford. We got lucky the guy let us into it. Let's hold true. I'm going to look for opportunity. It was about that time that I literally I kind of I looked for areas where I could just serve people to to not intentionally like, oh, I'm going to serve that person to create opportunity, but I knew that if I showed up in different places, if I served in different ways, there's people I'm not connecting with that are out there that unless I go put myself in places where I can, I'm not going to. And so time passed on. I was like working back in this corporate job again, like I said, where I was unhappy. And that's when I had moment I talk about in my book. It's like the grounding story in chapter 1 is called The Sea of Cubicles, where you wake up, I'm literally sitting there one day and I'm like hearing a couple people over, they're having a conversation about whatever, like their weekend. And it was like, it finally clicked where I was like, whoa, I don't belong here.
Yeah. This
And
isn't
things
me.
started hitting me even more where I was like, oh my gosh. And so I had applied recently at that point to work for this company that my brother-in-law worked for, that they helped coach entrepreneurs. They helped work up with entrepreneurs on their business software and systems. And everything he said, I'm like, that just sounds like amazing. I wish I could do that. Like you get to break down the most complex businesses, because entrepreneurs are great at making a complete cluster nightmare of their business and their back ends and their systems and everything. It's like you can break down this complex, to simplify it down, and then like so you do that like in coaching and working, but then you get to get into the software too. You get to work in the tech. I love tech. I love working like and hearing these things, these different people that he's working with. I'm like, man, I want to do that. And I applied at one point. They had a position, and I got 4 or 5 rounds into the interview process, and I got turned down. So like second time where it's like, I've never been let go. Now I've been let go. Every job I apply for, I get. What? I didn't get this one. And but it was in that moment that the owner of the company was like, the founder was like, yeah, hey, whether you interview here or somewhere else in the future, a couple things you should think about. And he's like, and he gave me some advice. And one of the biggest ones was he gave, like, sometimes people will be like, oh, it's super stereotypical. Like, no, it's actually meant, the way he said it to me was very heartfelt. And like, it's like, when you go for something, you need to show that you're 100%, like that you're all in.
Yeah.
Give the 110% that doesn't exist. Like you have to give that. And so when I had that moment a few months later of like that wake up, like I don't belong here, I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean for me? Like 110%. What is it? And so I need to learn more about being an entrepreneur, about doing my own business. I need to learn more about, like, am I going to keep doing comedy? No. Am I going to do this thing? No. Am I going to I needed to figure out what my thing was. And so I just started looking, searching, but also continue to serve, being back and doing more in church. It was like, there's all sorts of opportunities to serve through any church. Like, all right, well, there's this, there's that. I'm in, count on me. I'm there. Mm-hmm. And it was, a little bit later, that same company had a different position open. And I applied, and of all the people that applied, there's 30 plus people that made it into the actual interview process. And I know for a fact, I have verified I was the least qualified on paper. It's so-and-so's brother-in-law, we're going to give him a chance. Mm-hmm. But I went into it with that mentality that they had said, like, you give that 110%. So like everything was, they asked me to do something, I had it to them within minutes. Like it was like, how fast can I get it to you? It was they were like, hey, we want you to go read this book by Stephen Pressfield, do the work. And we want you to write a synopsis of what that looks like for your life. Like resistance and all the sort of stuff that's in your life. And they're like, go watch this Jim Rohn seminar on YouTube. It's 4.5 hours and send us your thoughts on it. Mm-hmm. There's 2 versions of it. So I went and watched both. And I sent them comparison notes on both 4-hour videos. Mm-hmm. And just everything they asked for, I was like, no, I'm going to do it. Like I put together business plans, all sorts of weird things to show up as my best self. But in the Jim Rohn seminar, he at one point he said, hey, everyone in this room, there's a book I'm going to tell you all to read. And if you read it, it will change your finances for the rest of your life. He's like, and I'm going to tell all of you about this. And everyone in this room, there might be 10% of you that actually remember it and try to go find it. There's maybe about 5% of you who will actually ever touch that book, open it, and possibly read it. And he's like, and then there's going to be probably about 1% of you who read it and implement parts of it. And of that 1% who actually implement, he's like, I promise you that if you do that, it will change your life financially forever. And I was like, That's 110% right there. That's like, and so I had to move money around in my checking account that I didn't have, like barely move up to buy a book that they recommended in this thing. I went through it, I read it, and I was like, there's no way I can do what that book is telling me because I don't have the money to do what that book is telling me. And I was like, well, what's the version I can do?
Okay, you got to tell us what the book was.
So there are a lot of people probably read it. It's the Richest Man in Babylon.
Hmm.
Super simple book, super simple concepts, but it is the same concepts I live by today. It's what I teach my boys. So I've got a soon-to-be 16-year-old, soon-to-be 12-year-old, and I have a 4-year-old. And so the two older boys, they have checking accounts, they have savings accounts, they have investment accounts. They know when money comes in, like that there's going to be 10% automatically goes into their general savings, 10% goes into a college mission savings account, 10% goes into a investment account. And then 10% gets donated to someone. Like you must live on 60% of your income.
Hmm.
And that's not what he teaches in the book, but like that's my adaptation of it. And it's like my boys, I'm like, nope, you're gonna live by this. Trust me, it'll change your life if you guys live by this.
Yeah.
But the concept of putting 10%, you're gonna live on 70% of your income, and I'm like, okay, but I'm living at like 150% of my income. So how do I, and so it started with like, okay, well, this next paycheck, I put $5 into a savings account and promised I wouldn't use it.
Yeah.
And then the next pay period, I put $5 in and I donated $5. And then over time that just grew and changed and evolved. And if I didn't get the job and I had just implemented the things it taught, like my world, like Jim Rohn, my world has changed financially because of the simple principles taught in that book, and the fact that I did them and I lived by them.
Well, that's the key part, right? Is the fact that you did them.
Yep. And now luckily I did get the job, which brought my income back up. It brought like, I'm back working with entrepreneurs. I'm getting back to that entrepreneur space. The only reason I got the job is that I outworked the 30 other people that were more qualified than me.
Yeah.
And even to the point where like the owner of the company, I honestly don't think that he was fully bought in on me, but the rest of the team was, until like 2 or 3 years of working there. Cause like it wasn't until he got a chance to like, he and I worked together on some stuff that was like, oh, this guy gets it. This guy's one of us. Like, but like like I said, I always say they took a chance on me, and that between the financial thing and then like their mindset key, the everything about them, how they show up, the product they put out into the world, how we control a room, how do you control the biggest entrepreneurial names in the space, and make them feel like you're their best friend, while at the same time you are literally controlling the room so that they don't derail the coaching, the building, the tech, it's like you learn so many things. It's like, I can write my own permission slips to do things. Really? I can have processes to like decide and fail and decide and fail and keep acting and doing things about it. Like I can do that. What a crazy concept. But when I do decide and I do act and I do go to do those things before I either succeed or fail at that thing, it's like, you're gonna do it your 110%. You're gonna do it your best. You're gonna do it the Walt Disney so well so that they come back and they bring their friends. Like that's what you're gonna do. And so it's like mindset shifts. Like it was. I had somebody I had worked with at that last corporate job that they were interested in applying for a job, and I said, "Why don't you come talk to me first? Because I don't know if it's going to be right for you." And he came and we sat down. We just talked about the job. And then he was interviewing later, and owner of the company was like, well, why do you want to work here? And he's like, because that man is not the same person I worked with 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I could have that much change in my life in that short a period of time, I want to be a part of that company. And so like the transformation of just, it changed the value I had in myself. Like and that's one of the things in the Jim Rohn seminar as well. But like the value you bring to the market, the value you bring to people, and then learning that like, man, there's only so many ways to run a business. There's only so many ways to sell. There's only so many ways to market. There's only so many ways to deliver. What's more important is who you serve and the transformation you're going to take them through.
Yeah.
Then you just have to pick the modality that fits best for doing that. Like weird. I build that stuff for people all the time in their systems and software. I'm like, yeah, just stop overcomplicating it. We're just going to build a consult pipeline inside of your high level, your active campaign. Just stop. We'll do this. It's okay. But that opened doors to amazing universes of people. Like we met through a mastermind community, and some of the people there who pushed me more and more to be like, hey, you've got these things that you could offer beyond just the tech. And it wasn't until I had literal middle of the night download of writing the book, The Giver Method, because it has nothing to do with the world I normally am in, that there was this belief that I could now take this transformation I've gone through and create a framework around it and apply it to other people as well.
Absolutely. And I'm listening to you and I think so many people are out there thinking what I have to offer is, yeah, this thing I know, this skill set. Oh, I'm good at tech. I can help people with their systems. And so can lots and lots and lots of people. Like what makes you different is the fact that you were sobbing on the floor of your foreclosed home and figured your way out of it, right? That's what makes the story. That's what's interesting about you. And it's the things that we're often the most embarrassed about that really make us the most valuable to other people. Because, if I were to meet you at a mastermind event for the first time and you said, hey, I'm Jake and I help people with their tech and systems, that's nice.
Yeah, great.
Nice to meet you, Jake. Hey, yeah. I'm Jake and I'm on a comeback journey from being on the floor of my foreclosed house. I want to talk to this guy. I want to know all about that. I want to know all about how you did it. It's that vulnerability that makes you interesting, that provides value to other people. So you figured that out, and you said you call it a download. I love that you call it a download. I'm a religious person as well, different religion than you are, but we're both religious. And I get downloads from God, spirit, universe, whatever you want to call it. I got a big one the other night for Delusional. It was awesome. So you get this download from God, about the Giver Method. Tell us about it.
So once again, my world at that point is, day to day, the company that I'm managing partner of, that I run day to day. It's called Sixth Division, and we are helping small business entrepreneurs, people doing between mid 6 figures and upwards of 8 figures in revenue, make sense of their system software, their client journey, high level, active campaign, keep, all those sorts of things. Like, how do we actually make the thing run the way that you want your client journey to run? Like, let's do that.
Right.
It's like, so very much coaching businesses in that aspect, that world. And it was, I woke up in the middle of the night. I'd wanted to write a book. I'd wanted to do something and started writing books on starting a business, small business principles. Everything was grounded in some sort of a Star Wars related type thing because I'm a Star Wars nerd. And I've written multiple books on those topics that have not seen the light of day. I had one make it to a point that I shared a couple chapters with some people. And then after they read it, I hid it to where no one else could ever see it again. Not because of what they said, but because I was like, I wasn't happy with it. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel like me. Yeah. And so I woke up in the middle of the night one night, and it was literally just like you're going to write a book. It's called The Giver Method. Giver is an acronym. Here is what each letter stands for. Each is a double letter: gift, giver, impactful, influence, vivid. Like, here's exactly what I can't make acronyms to save my life. That's not I don't think that way. It's like literally like, this is the exact structure it's going to be. And here's how you coach to it. I was like, grab my phone off the bedside table, middle of the night. I'm literally typing out as fast as I can this download of information. And I'm like, whew. And by the time I finished writing it, it was like, wow, that's really cool. Put the phone down. I was out. I was asleep. And it was over the next probably week and a half, 2 weeks. I didn't tell anyone about it. I had written this idea out on my phone. I mean, oftentimes you write out things that come to you or whatever. But during that week, we can have separate conversations I had with my wife, with my mom, and with my sister. And I was explaining some to them. I'm like, well, yeah, because I got to go do this thing, or, yeah, well, there's this, or people are coming and asking about, and each one of them said something to the tune of, well, yeah, that's because you're a giver.
Mm.
And I was like, whoa, hold on a
You're
second.
like, whoa, the universe is speaking to me directly.
Yeah. And you just hit me with threes on this one. So, okay, I hear you. Um, and so I went to my wife and I said, hey, I've got this idea to write a book.
Mm.
I told her about these other ones I'd worked on. I picked her brain on them, but I was like, the other night I woke up and I had this idea for a book. I want to tell you it, and I need you to tell me if this sounds dumb. Like, I need brutal honesty, wife here. I don't need feel good wife here. Um, I literally I pulled out the phone note and I read it to her, and I finished. I was like, so, and she was like, you have to write this. You have to write this book. Like, this is you. That is who you are. And I'm like, but it's not. Like, this concept is all around, helping individuals from a personal perspective. Like, I don't do that. I coach businesses. I coach entrepreneurs. I coach like their system software, the chaos that's there. She's like, but that's not who. Like, yes, you are gifted in that, but who you are is a giver.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa, all right, well, you convinced me. But I also have not been in this space, so I started doing tons of data research and all that. And I took a few months. I wrote chapter 1 as like a thesis. Like, this is what this is about. It's the shortest chapter of all of them. I just got to listen to the Audible first time last night because it just got done being recorded, and it's 9 minutes compared to the other ones that are much longer.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote it and I gave that I went to 10 people that I'm like, I know they have no problem telling me if something sucks. Like, I went to the people in my life that I'm like, I know I can pressure test things against them, and they're not going to be like, that sounds great, Jake. Like, no, let's go to my brother-in-law, Clint. He will tell me if this is crap. And so I took it to 10 people, and I was like, can you just read this? And I need the most honest feedback. And it was 10 for 10. This is awesome, and you need to keep going.
Mm.
I'm like, oh, okay. To this point, the chapter 1 of the book right now is only 9 words different from the first version I wrote.
Wow.
Like, through all edits, and there were lots of edits to the other chapters, everything that happened, 9 words were changed at any point from the first time I wrote it in one sitting. And so it became that thing where I was like, holy crap, like, this was a download. This was a thing. This was a calling, a purpose, a whatever deity or source of religion that you subscribe or don't subscribe to. It was a true, like, nope, this is your path forward. This is where you're going to be making an impact. And what's amazing is that how applicable it is to not only from a personal level. I work with people one-on-one in church, and I can talk to them at, I'm in charge of church. I'm in charge of the men, anyone who's 18 to 92. And so,
That's a lot of men.
well, yeah, yep. And so whenever I'm dealing with individuals, talking to people, and like they're going through things, like, I'm able to pull things from that. I'm able to use it with my boys. I'm able to use it with my wife, with my relationships, like, and it's one of the best doorways into talking to people about their businesses and about what they're doing there. Like, it's become this thing that I'm like, I can literally apply it to any part of my life. And it's that, going back to my wife, it said, like, no, this is who you are. And it was like, yeah, no, the reason I can apply this anywhere is because it's literally part of how I'm made up. It's part of my DNA at this point. And getting it out there in the world, getting it published, it came out a little bit over a year ago, and watching it get into people's hands. I sat on a call with a guy the other day, and I just asked him a simple question. He just, big dude, broke down crying, and he was starting to have that, not quite as dark and despair of like the laying on the kitchen floor, but it was like a come to terms of reality of, oh my gosh, this is where I am. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, well, now we can move forward. Like, now there's only one way to go from here. You got down to the bottom. There's only one way to go now.
Yep.
Let's start building that back. You see those changes, those transformations, in people's lives, and it's so energizing, so exciting to see, I launched the one-on-one coaching program back in December, and the first couple cohorts of people I've put through it, I'm like, this is like, I'm having time of my life doing it, because I'm
Yeah.
like, this is like watching these changes in them, that I'm like, I feel more like I'm Gandalf, like the guide along the way. I'm the Obi-Wan Kenobi guiding you. Uh, uh, I'm on the journey with you. That's the biggest piece of it. It's like, I'm not coaching you. I'm not
Yeah.
like, no, I'm legitimately, let's go drop that ring in Mordor. I'm with you, like, along the way. And it's been so fun to watch them go through the stages and the places where I know I was 12 years ago,
Yeah.
and see that change. And that's why, like I said, it's why when I sit down now and people are like, how are things going, I can be like, living the best year of my life.
Yeah.
Like, every part of it, relationship with my wife, we're closer more now than ever. My boys are growing and developing and doing crazy awesome things, and raising three boys is a definite fun experience. um I'll tip my hat to my mom, who raised three boys and a girl. I only have three boys, so it's like that. It's
I was
not. It's
just
a
thinking,
fun.
man, I only have two boys. Tip my hat to you for raising three.
Yeah, three boys. Between 4 and 16 years old. Like, it's a fun. It's fun. It's so exciting. But like, I get to go home at every day. I'm home at when they're walking in from school,
Hmm.
and I get to be present and be dad. I wasn't that 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Sitting on that floor, I felt like a shell. I felt like the ghost in my own home. I wasn't being present. I wasn't showing up. I wasn't doing those things. I'm able to have a relationship with my wife. We're able to talk about things, deep, emotional, spiritual things. You know, we've got tips and tactics we tell people now. We're like, you want to have a happy marriage? Here, do these five things, and trust me, you will work through any problem you have. You will, like, it will, you know, it will change the way you approach your marriage. Like, and so it's just, but it's all grounded in the same concepts of, like, we all have these unique gifts and superpowers that are born and forged out of some of the darkest points of our life.
Hmm.
That if we use them the right way, we can create the impact we are wanting to make. Whether that's as a business to make money, as an individual, as a whatever, like, it will make that, and it will lead to better engagements with people, better relationships. And I use the term, when you do this, the universe will pay you back, which is my very slick and sly way of saying God will bless you as a religious person without alienating people based off whatever their religious preference is. It's like, no, the universe will pay you back when you do those things. I've seen it. I'm a testament to it. I am living proof that when you do that, opportunities happen, doors open. You can't expect it, but I guarantee it will happen.
Mm. Jake, there is somebody right now listening to this, watching this, who is in that point. They're at the rock bottom. They're at the darkest part of their life. They don't know how they're going to wake up tomorrow and do it. What do you want to say to that person?
Um, you are at the perfect place to find your spark, and even it may not be like, it's not winning the lottery. It's not going to be a, oh my gosh, tomorrow everything's great. But there are practices, little things, the tiniest little things you can start doing right this second, and it that will build you, that you will, in a week, feel different. In a month, you'll be like, wow, I can't believe I was thinking that way. In a year, you're not going to recognize your life, and in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you're going to be like, people are going to be like, what happened to you?
Hmm.
Like the guy I had worked with, who came in and was like, that's not the guy I worked with 4 years ago. Like, and whatever happened, like, how I want to be a part of that thing. Like, I it is I've seen it happen time and time again. There are people that are in the darkest, deepest despair places that I've worked with, who have lost friends and family, who are in health related ones, that, like, they literally can't get out of it. One of my favorite people I've worked with is this guy David, who could not get out of a chair for 12 years because of physical, like, health related issues. And watching him walk into church every week now, watching him go and do these. Yeah, he still has tons of health issues. There's tons of things still there, but there is a light in his eyes. And so if any person is in that place, that dreading tomorrow, there is an alignment issue that is off in your life. It might be multiple. There are places you are leaking energy that you don't realize. And I promise you, there are small little steps that you can do, teeniest little things of setting the right intentions, changing the way. I did a video today about just changing the way your first 5 minutes of your day, how that impacts the rest of your day, which impacts the rest of your life. It's such small little things that I teach people that I'm like, it's not burning everything down and starting from scratch. It's not moving to the woods to find yourself. It's not some woo retreat that is going to metaphysically transport you spiritually in some sort of way. It's like, no, it's some of the most simple principles that you put into place that get you to where you're wanting to be. And like I said, I only know because I made the commitment to do it. I found the spark of whatever that thing was, and I just started doing it little bit by little bit. And it literally transforms you as a person, how you show up, your emotions, how you show up physically, spiritually. Believe me, your spark is there. You just need to pick it up and start doing something with it.
Jake, thank you so much for being on the show today. If people want to know more about you, if they want to check out the Giver Method, where can they find you on the internet?
So make it pretty easy. You look up the Giver Method. I'll put it up here, just like it's the Giver Method, whatever the book. But it's you go on any of the social media channels. It's going to be under that. You can find me on my personal handle, which is just going to be the.real.jake.talbert. That's my handle on everything. But thegivermethod.com has everything. It has how you can contact us. It has all of our free resources, assessments and guides and videos. There's a whole page. I'm like, just go get any of them. Go download them. I won't. You'll get an email because my whole world is systems and software. You get an email to be like, hey, here's what you should do next. But you don't have to. It is a no commitment needed to go check that stuff out. The one-on-one coaching programs on there. At the same time, I record 30-minute YouTube videos every single weekday. That's me taking one concept and I'm basically teaching a workshop every single day for free. And so it's just go find the Giver Method on YouTube, and you'll probably be able to find a topic or hundreds of topics, because I'm 2 days from now, I believe, is what I'm projecting that I will hit 1 million views on there, and just watching, it is, there are people seeing it. It's making a change in their life. People message in about it. And once again, to me, that's me giving of my gifts and superpowers to people every single day, saying, hey, here's something you can unpack for yourself today, whether it be from whatever perspective, anywhere from I'm at rock bottom, darkest place, or I run a business and I feel disconnected. I feel off. I feel like I built this business for freedom, but I don't feel freedom in my business. You'd be anywhere in that range. There's going to be content there for you. But yeah, you can check us out there. Givermethod.com would be the other place. And like I said, at any point, I always tell people, and you'd be surprised if you reach out, you may get an automated message right away, but there's always usually a personal message that comes with it as well.
Awesome, Jake. And we'll have all of that linked in the show notes. So everybody go check out Jake, check out the Giver Method. And if you want to hang out with me and Jake, come hang out with us in the Delusional Movement Facebook group. We just launched it a couple of weeks ago. We got a whole crew in there already of just inspiring people, visionaries, building things, and working together to help each other. We are working in the spirit of collaboration in the Delusional Movement. So come hang out with us there. Go to delusionaluniverse.com if you want to sign up for updates on what we got cracking. And you guys can follow me anywhere on the internet at Michelle to Scale. And it's just me in my inbox. So you're not getting a robot response. I will be me responding to you. I'm not that big a deal yet, Jake. So get in there good before I am. You know what I mean? Jake, it's been so awesome having you on the show. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time.